See? So you have Shelby. Shelby does not want to be here. All right. So I wanted to start with a joke. Um, I really like this comedian. And then I'm going to have a vote. Today's an exciting day. I have a lot of content. So, Zoltan, his name is Zoltan, in an unpronounceable Slavic name. Right.
People here? Nice. I'm guessing the rest of you are dog people. Is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
So this is
I'm not
really
anti-dog.
a deep insight.
Every time I tell someone I'm a cat person, like, what does that mean? You don't like dogs? No, that's not what that means. It just means I like other people's dogs.
Oh, what do you
I
think?
like dogs. I just like them over there, and I'll play with them, but then go back over there. I don't like that kind of energy in my house. You know what I mean? That annoying dog, best friend in your face all the time energy. Just like, yeah, I love you. You're home. Where have you been?
But Shelby's never been like that,
I don't
really.
care for that.
Only when she's really
I don't
hungry.
like that at all. Just in your face. Like, you want to go out? There's a tree. I know this tree. You want to hang out at this tree? What if I just keep breathing into your face?
My dogs are not like that. Maybe it's because they're old.
All the time? No, thank you. That's why I like cats. Cats are more like, hey, what are you up to? Never mind. I just remembered I don't care.
That's like a teenager.
I'll be in the kitchen. I'll see you later. I like that. I don't need a best friend at the house. I just need like an apathetic roommate
Perfect.
that sometimes wants to hang out. Like a dog, you can pet a dog's belly all day. They'll never get tired of it.
That's
all
not
day,
true.
just like, yeah, man, never stop. You're the best. Hopefully not that creepy, but you get the idea. A cat you can pet for what, 2, maybe 3 seconds? And so it's like, all right, get away from me. My own thing's going on.
That's exactly that. He nailed it. He nailed it. He nailed it. So I don't know how to do this. Like, how much you're going to see of me, how much you're going to see of this in this room. So I'm just going to try to figure out what content to produce now. So I'm going to show you. This has been my cup of coffee. Coffee. Yes, New York. I only lived 2 years in New York, but I guess being Jewish, you automatically have a New York accent. So why did I move to this country? So we have the daily newspaper. An Israeli guy, if you're an Israeli and you go to an exotic place, they'll actually they'll just devote 2 pages for you because he's in the very, very, like a small island. The only Israeli in the small island. Yeah. And, no anti-Semitism there. So this is actually the son of a famous writer. And why am I bringing him in? My father grew up with his father, and he's mentioned in a book he wrote about childhood in Israel, the land of Israel, because before it became Israel. His father's name was Hanoch Bartov. He's Omer Bartov. He's a lecturer, historian on, what is he dealing with? History, anatomy of murder, of a genocide, I guess. I'm trying to think what is it? English. He writes about Bochech. That's where his mom came from. They never spoke about it. So it's the Holocaust. What a great weekend reading. I mean, what country in the world would you live in that they talk about the Holocaust? Quite sad, especially how they killed people that they actually knew. And there's a famous Agnon who won a Nobel Prize. And he says, I close my eyes so I won't see my brother's death. Oh God, I mean, he just said that people knew each other and then they just like killed people. And he talks about how you can kill somebody you know. You know what? I don't need genocide. You're a nice guy. You're very smart. You teach in Brown, but no, thank you. Of course, not the whole entire content is the Holocaust, but then we have, yes, this is the main documents of Eichmann. 60 years after he was caught, they found hundreds of documents about the cruelty and the small little details of how they tortured Jews. People often ask me why I left Europe. Oh, I lived in paradise. This is exactly it. They really know how to torture people. So I'm not talking about Germans. I'm talking about Europeans sometimes do not feel like there's a human being standing in front of them. And I had a lot of problems with the dog barking. So these are documents. Little tidbits for me. I actually taught in, this is one of his, this is all about Eichmann. If you're interested in Eichmann, 5 pages of Eichmann. Wow. And then everything looks so great. Well, he was hung. It says 31st of May, 1962. He kept saying he was just a small little screw in a huge mechanism, and he only did transport. But the documents that people managed to find show that Eichmann got Himmler. He got the Iron Cross, a German. It's like a honor, like a sign. What do you call it? A symbol of honor for his bravery for murdering helpless people. You know, if there's a reason to be vegetarian, I'm sorry I'm pushing it. This is it. I mean, the way they used the animal model, exactly. If you go to any industrial farm, you will see how the Jews were treated, and nobody should be treated like that. That's the whole point. Nothing comparing. Just nobody should be forced into a small, little, crowded place and tortured. So, in an interview he gave to a Dutch Nazi reporter, he said, "I wasn't just following order. If I was like that, I would be stupid. I was an idealist." So that was how they said, okay, that's it, you're guilty, because you can't claim I didn't know anything. So he was hung. I saw the exact location. I used to pass it every morning on my way to work. I was teaching English at a prison where he was executed, actually. And the head of the prison told the teachers, I wish they would have made it like a monument, but the public can't come in. It took about a month until I could go unaccompanied, just because it's really top security. They're very dangerous criminals. There's a lot of drugs there. I'm a person who doesn't, coffee is the most I do, so, and I am naive, but I was so careful. I wouldn't even give them like an eraser. I was so scared because there are various, well, now I'm digressing how prisoners are able to smuggle drugs. And I saw them as human beings, and I just thought it was so sad when you can't see a human being. But like, I have the same problem in my family. I don't think they see a human being. They see someone who's very strange because I don't have the same values as them. Like, I don't think about money, and when I do need money, it's a bit of a problem because I haven't, that's not my mantra. And then they think, well, she doesn't need money, and why don't we just take all the money to ourselves? And that's not how it works. You can't accuse a person of being materialistic because they want food to eat. So that's what I wanted to add, making personal about myself. I'm really happy the way I turned out, I wanted to say, because I really always see a pigeon is for me a soul. This dog. Today I was talking to the guy who hands out the paper and was a new guy. Usually I get along with the other one. This was just a nice guy, and he said to me, I said, how about Corona really is a disease of elderly people? And he just said to me, oh, really? How old is your dog? And I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it was really painful what he said to me. He said, how old is she? I said, she's, God willing, in 2 weeks she's going to be 15. And he said, why don't you put her to sleep? And I thought, why would I put her to sleep? He said, because she's old. And I thought, I mean, it's ridiculous. Here we are shutting down the entire universe because of a virus. At least in Israel, it attacks predominantly elderly people over 80. If you look at the list, because Israel is a small country, so you could see the ages, you can follow it. It's not like the US where it's more difficult to do statistics. We have 127, may they all rest in peace. But when there's a 98-year-old person and there's a 96, 91, my grandparents never made it to that age, and I wish them to live to be 200. But why in the world would you shut down schools? And I mean, there are people that are mentally challenged. There are people that are children that need to be out there, and there's police cars telling you not to go outside, and they're putting a lot of stress. Yesterday I saw a dog almost run into the street because he was under stress. And two people, I asked a man to intervene because he was a large dog and he had to be lifted. He just had a fit and he was running to the street from the stress. Because when the police cars are going on with the sirens, say, when loudspeakers, don't go out to the street, don't go out to the street for your own safety, stay at home. You look at these people, and 4 people are under 80. And almost all of them have other problems like diabetes. And I'm really sorry for them, but you cannot shut down the entire country and put people under pressure. I understand you don't want to overwhelm the health system. I understand. People are supposed to wear masks. Okay, I don't do it because I have problem breathing with a mask. But my dog is old. Of course, I want him to live forever, but I wouldn't shut down the entire country if there was a disease that targeted elderly dogs, even though my dogs are elderly. And I love them as much as I love any parent. I don't have parents anymore. I've been an orphan for the past 10 years. I lost my father many years ago, and I would give anything to have my parents live a long, long, long life. I have elderly neighbors I adore. I give them newspapers every morning because I love them and I want them to be healthy and to have newspapers, and it gives them joy. It's a small thing I can do. Why not? And people are hysteric. They don't even touch newspapers. At first, 2 weeks ago, people wouldn't touch the newspapers. I mean, if you go to the grocery store and you touch a cornflakes box, I mean, it has cornea virus. I mean, I don't know how far you're going to take this hysteria, but I want to read you something nice. So long live all these old people. I don't mean to offend you, but if a virus does target elderly people more than young people, and that a psychiatrist was saying it at the beginning, and I was like, oh no, he's not telling the truth. When was it? In March, the psychiatrist already said, people, don't worry. I know it's horrible. It's targeting mainly elderly people. Your children are safe. And we just don't want people to get all sick at the same time. I understand that. But keeping people indoors, especially people that are very active and need air and need to go to nature, is causing them so many mental problems, not to mention financial. So let's go. Accepting change, because this is a huge change. The winds of change blow through our life, sometimes gently. Maybe I should show you her. Sometimes gently, sometimes like a tropical storm. Yes, we have resting places. Time to adjust to another level of living. Time to get our balance. Time to enjoy the rewards. We have time to catch our breath. But change is inevitable and desirable. Sometimes when the wind of change begins to rustle, we're not certain the change is for the better. I've seen people moving because they can't afford the rent, and I really envy them. I wish I had the energy to do that. It's a good time. If you can move, move. We may call it stress or a temporary condition. Certain will be restored to normal. Sometimes we resist. We tuck our head down and buck the wind, hoping that things will quickly calm down, get back to the way things were. Is it possible we're being prepared for a new normal? Change will sweep through our life as needed to take us where we're going. We can trust that our higher power has a plan in mind, even when we don't know where the changes are leading. We can trust that the change taking place is good. The winds will take us where we need to go. Today, help me, God, to let go of my resistance to change. Help me to be open to the process. Help me believe that the place I'll be dropped off will be better than the place where I was picked up. Help me surrender, trust, and accept, even if I don't understand. So I want to say happy birthday to my son Shiloh, who's going to be 20 tomorrow. I'm going to make him a cake. And you know what? It reminds me of what is it called? Little House on the Prairie. I used to love that show. Laura Ingalls. Oh my God. And what I want to say is that life becomes really simple. And I remember there was Christmas and they got toothbrushes. That was their Christmas present. So life is so much simpler now. All the stores are closed. You're getting brownies. You're getting attention. I don't know. Maybe we'll get ice cream. And you're surrounded by animals that love you. Shelby is the dog I got for him when he was 5 years old. And I couldn't find him because he was always hiding. And now he's going to be 20. I wish him to really accept change and embrace it. And I think our relationship has gone really sometimes to really bad places. But all in all, I can see that we're learning to listen to each other. It's hard for me to skip over the generation gap. He was my last born. And now I realize my mom had me when she was 32. We had huge gaps. And I'm thinking, it's hard when you have a child and you have so many years in between. Really difficult. But I think it's time to cherish the simple things in life. Uh, the bare necessities and the simple things. And Shelby, she's the reason why I came back to Israel. I had a really difficult time keeping a dog in a rented apartment. And here, people just won't call the police because the dog is barking. And it's not just calling the police. It's just the way the police behaved there was so not seeing the person, not seeing the human being, but seeing the target. They're very goal oriented people. And here, I think you can see the human being more. It's not an easy country, and God knows I didn't get any help from this country. But whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Shelby has a really good time. We have sunshine almost every day. Every day, actually, we have sunshine. It's now April. It's relatively cool. Um, I'm actually looking forward to life now. And I'm wondering if you could comment below. I know people don't comment because I don't know why. But what life lesson did you get from the corona? What makes you feel empowered from the corona? For me, it's staying indoors. I'm a person who can't stay indoors. Yesterday, I spent a long time chatting with people in a kiosk next to my house. And I'm just saying, I really can't stay inside. I never made my own coffee. I always had somebody make my coffee. This is my soul. And now things are simple. You make your own coffee. There's a yoga lesson at 8, and there's my dog. And I really think she's half cat, half dog. Not all the dogs are the same. Just so you know, there's a book called by Lawrence Conrad, and he says that there's two types of dogs, and generally one is from wolf and one is from a hyena. And I think Shelby is more from a hyena. And my other dog is more like a wolf. She's very, very, I don't have to look for her. Where's Shoshana? Where's Shoshana? There she is. Ignore the crumbs. I'm just like binging on snacks here. Shoshana, she's just at the foot of my bed. And Shelby, she's a wandering soul. We don't have a large place, but she's like, she's more like a family dog also. She'll go to my son. She'll come to me. She has a son. Her son, Samuel B. Cat, the cat. The cat has his own thing going on. But the dog, this Shoshana, who's Labrador mixed with Husky and an ancient, Middle Eastern race called Knani, she's very, very, very attached to me. She's been through a lot. Animals for me are really pure souls because really, I don't think what the stand-up comedian said was fair. Dogs are not all boo. Some dogs are really profound and deep. And I just want to say, a lot of people are adopting dogs now. I know this is like an overloaded message. If you adopt a dog, great, from a shelter, great, great, great. But after what I saw yesterday, please, please go on YouTube and look for, I want to show you. I had an Israeli one, but all you have to do, life is so easy. All you have to do is you go on YouTube and you see this guy. You have some jokes. You get a lot out of YouTube. And then you do dog anxiety. Now, I Googled it in Hebrew because I wanted to share it with people who live in Israel. So you have all kinds of anxieties. But what to do, separation anxiety is something else, is when a dog can't stay at home. We don't have this problem now because people are staying at home. So the problem is if you're in the street, like what I saw yesterday. So you need to not go on main streets, is what I want to say. You adopted a new dog. Let the dog get used to the city gradually. Cities are full of noise, even now with the corona. There's the police. There I am. There's the police cars. The sirens.
So this is Snoop. He's one of our newer board and
Oh,
trains.
this is one of my.
He's had a little bit of bite history out of fear.
You see?
And as you can see, he's got no
This is an anxious
leash
dog.
control, and so that raises a lot of different issues.
You see the
In a
tail?
dog that reacts out of fear and potentially reacts and
Right.
bites or nips somebody out of fear.
That's what I
a
had
lot
with
of that has to do
Shohanna.
with your relationship. Some of it has to do with genetics.
This is
But
Shohanna.
a lot of the things that you're dealing with at home with your dog, being fearful or afraid of strangers, or potentially nipping people, or the fear of nipping people, has a lot to do with your relationship with your dog. And so I'm gonna, in 5 minutes or so, I'm gonna show you how to tune that up a little bit and get you on the right path to creating a better
This
relationship
is a guy
with your dog.
called
And a lot of it comes down to the foundation on the leash. As you can see,
Upstate Canine Academy.
Snoop's just kind of pulling me around.
I actually don't know
It's a
him.
terrible thing, but you have to, again, with our last video with our German Shepherd, you have to think about a dog that is making decisions that doesn't have the right state of mind. In his case, he's insecure, he's fearful.
Because he's been in a dog shelter.
And it's all based out of fear. He's just very afraid. And so
Exactly.
we spend a couple of days just walking him around
Exactly.
the facility and just getting him comfortable.
Side
Now he's to a
streets.
point where he's out and he's mingling, but we can see an immediate situation on our hands with no engagement with the handler, which is, again, a really big issue when you get a dog that is making really bad decisions. You want to be in control of those decisions.
Exactly.
So today, I'm going to show you
Exactly.
exactly how to start doing that at home and making your relationship immediately better.
I hope
to
I have
start,
enough time
getting
now.
rid of some of the unwanted behavior or the entire bad behavior of your dog being fearful.
I just
or
want to show
anxious
you.
with the
We went to this. This. You know how I got from this to this? Time. I've had it for 4 years.
Tongue's going a little bit. He's just not used to being
And
handled
exactly.
like a dog. He's
Time.
used to kind
A lot
just
of
being
time.
A companion, which is okay. It's
Patience.
Just, it's created issues for him. He's insecure. He's nervous. When you bring him into a new environment, he completely shuts down. He spent 2.5 days with us and finally is starting to eat now. So I want to make him more secure.
There was never a problem with Shoshana.
And more importantly, I want to make him a happier dog. And so we have a little slip collar here, sits right behind
Very
the ears.
important. Very
And
important.
I'm going to start, see a little stress here. I'm going to start just teaching him that I want him to be paying attention to me versus him going, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here,
Exactly.
I'm going to go here. With
Exactly.
no real intentions and no real reason. He's just making decisions.
He needs to
which is
know.
causing a lot of anxiety
Exactly.
within the dog.
He needs
So
to
I'm
know
gonna
there's
just show you
a
guys how to
leader
introduce leash
in the
pressure and
pack.
change your relationship with your dog.
He needs to know there's a
I'm
leader.
going to start off by
And
going
he's
one way and then
obviously
the other way,
never
and
had
then
that.
the other way.
He's
We're gonna
been
do this
passed.
live, so I'm not going to do any edits unless something crazy happens. I'm going to try to do it right now, right in front of you guys. Just to
Oh,
show you
great,
how you guys
great.
can do this at home.
Okay.
Snoop, come. Good boy. He's going to go this way. He's going to go that way. Snoop, come.
It's very
Pressure.
important. Very
Pressure.
important. Pressure, pressure. Gentle,
Good boy.
gentle, gentle.
Good job.
A lot of encouragement.
Yes, good boy. Snoop, come.
We need to apply this for
Good
human beings
boy.
too. Positive reinforcement. Look, look,
Good.
look.
Come.
Look how quick.
Little pressure. And then he
Little
pops
pressure.
back.
Very important, the
Getting-
collar.
Come.
Cannot
Yes,
stress it
that's what I
enough.
want. I want him to make
Do not
decision.
use a flexi, people.
Yes.
Not a flexi collar in the city.
So the goal here is for him to escape the uncomfortable little pressure he gets on his neck by complying. So if he follows me, the pressure shuts off.
Oh,
Meaning, if he just pays attention to what I'm doing and he complies with my body language or my motion, there's no uncomfortability. And what that'll so here, watch. Snoop, come. Little pressure. Yes, buddy. Good boy.
I don't know if all dogs would respond like that to the
Nice.
pressure.
So what this is, guys, is I don't care. The micro is I'm not letting him go to the food. I'm not letting him go to the other trainers. What I'm doing is I'm telling him that he can't make those decisions
Very good.
without me telling him what he can and can't do.
I've seen a
I'm
woman.
not being militant with him. I don't care which side he's on. I'm not saying heel. I'm just doing directional
I'm trying to
changes
stop
to
it.
get him to understand that he
Second
has
comment.
to go through me. I'm the gatekeeper
Very good.
of all of his decisions.
That's
So I'm
very
gonna do
important.
that. Snoop, come.
It's like children parenting the same.
Boy. Come.
When you let the child make the decision,
Yes,
it's the
buddy.
same problem. The
Decision.
children
Good.
can't make decisions. Dogs can't make
Good
decisions
boy.
because they will just
Good boy.
run all over the place. I saw a woman with a baby carriage and the dog just pulled her away to another
Yes, good
direction.
boy. See if he'll take some food.
Very wrong way of dealing with
Not
dogs.
interested.
You need to be the
So
boss.
this is the first session I've ever touched this dog, and he's doing really, really well.
And then the dog doesn't have anxiety because dogs need to follow.
Don't want him to make those decisions. That's where he's getting
Oh.
in trouble. He's going, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Exactly.
I'm going to nip somebody. I'm going to pull you.
And then he acts on his impulse.
More structured relationship.
And he can run into the street.
By introducing this little tune-up that I do, and hopefully this will help you guys out at home. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
What do you think, Shelby?
Making that decision to follow you.
Shelby.
The goal to any dog training.
She's been a tough one. This one was a tough one.
Or you're applying anything, just the collar, is you want the dog to comply to you
exactly
without any pressure at all. And that's what real good dog training is 99% purely positive, good, and then that 1% of pressure just to tell the dog that
exactly.
And then you can do something differently. So I'm going to continue to do this.
So many people don't know what they're doing. They shout at the dog. Dogs can hear so many times more. Don't shout, not at a child, not at a dog. I've also done both. A little bit.
Boy, buddy.
Children more. I yelled at more children. My own children only. Mostly my own children.
Good boy.
Guilty as charged. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Good.
Shouting doesn't help.
Yes.
Negativity doesn't help.
Now I'm in charge.
I'm in charge.
The wheel of this dog who doesn't know how to make good decisions, which is exactly what we want to do. Good boy. Loose leash. Watch his leash pressure, guys. Good boy. Good.
This is a science,
First
people.
session,
It's a
touching
science.
the dog. He's doing brilliant.
Great.
Yes.
Look at the
Well
change.
done.
Look
Now,
at that change.
I can personally say that I feel like I have a better relationship with this dog, or better understanding with this dog than his owner does. And she's had him for, I don't know, I think he's about 4. Right, Taylor?
Wow.
He's about 4 years old. Does he love me as much? Absolutely not. But does he listen to me better?
Exactly.
Does he respect me more?
Exactly.
Absolutely. He's
Absolutely.
taking direction from me instead
Right.
of making these decisions, which creates anxious dogs.
Wow.
Which creates a lot of turmoil and decision making and fight or flight and really instantaneously, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Perfect,
Now,
perfect.
If you notice,
I agree.
He's harder to get his attention when he goes that way because the door's that way versus that way because there's nothing really over there for him. So I'm going to do this one more time, and it's very simple. You're going to pop the dog if they don't follow you, accompanied by a verbal marker like come or heel. And then eventually you're just going to say the verbal marker so the dog complies instead of giving the dog any pressure. And that's called a top behavior. So we're teaching the dog something. So that little correction is the little red line under the word that you spelled wrong on spell check. And then after that, the goal is next time you go to spell that word, you learned and you were taught that the proper way to do it. That's what we're doing here with Snoop today. Come on, buddy, let's go.
I just love the way you can improve behavior.
I'm just getting his attention and letting him know that he's got to pay attention to me in order to live a less stressful life and not making those decisions. And
Right.
so that's what you want to do.
That's what I have problem too.
Back and forth, back and forth.
I can just say that anxiety comes from being overwhelmed by information. And when a dog has to make, if you give them this flexi, the dog doesn't know where to go. This leashes, I see people in the city. I live next to a very busy street, and I just see people taking the flexi, and I see that it's a very blessed phenomena that people are now adopting dogs from shelters because of the coronavirus. They have a reason to go out, and because you can't go out unless you buy food. How many times can you go to the supermarket? So you get a dog, and then you get out, and you have somebody loving, and it's very good against anxiety. Touching, trust me, stroking your dog is like the best thing you can do, and they're so sweet. And you're saving lives, because in Israel they kill dogs. In the US, I'm sure they also, a lot of shelters, they just don't have the budgets, and they just euthanize so many healthy, beautiful dogs because they don't have the space. Oh, it almost makes me cry. 100,000 dogs a year. And I don't know how many new dogs I've seen. Do not use flexi, people who live in the city. Do not use flexi. That's for when you go next to the ocean, when you go next to the river, in a park. Yes, not in the city, because you want to have control. And when the dog has all these decisions, should I go by the tree? Should I go by the... It overwhelms them, makes him more anxious, and it makes the person anxious. And when you have a baby carriage on top of all, when I see people with babies and the dog is on a flexi and he can just pull them, I think it's unsafe, anxious, and it scares me when I see it. Recently I've come to the insight that I would really love to educate people about dogs. And for me, as a person who has anxiety a lot of times, ADHD and anxiety, yoga is amazing. Amazing. I just did a yoga session, and Shoshana is just wow. She goes on the yoga mat when she sees the teacher, and she's like, I want to do yoga. This is what she wants to do. She wants to be relaxed, because not only human beings, but animals also like to escape anxiety because it's not a nice feeling. I know some people like to go in a Luna Park, they like to skydive, but being in a state of fear for any prolonged length of time is a horrible feeling. We need the balance between excitement, new stimulus, and safety. And I am a person who's like easily bored. I'm reading like 10 books at the same time. However, please help your dogs, help yourself, find time to relax. And this is a really good book. I just want to recommend a book as well. The Universe Has Your Back. Transform Fear to Faith. And Gabrielle Bernstein has websites. When I saw that book, I said, yes, this sentence has exactly what a person who has anxiety needs. And this is also good for dogs. Dogs need to know the owner has control. We need to find the balance between situations where there is more control than others. And in coronavirus, you also have control. You can decide, you can go out, just not too far. And you could sit at your balcony. You can make your life, your inner world. Well, to be honest, I'm the kind of person, when I was a child, I loved staying home from school because I could do my own thing. I could read books. I could watch TV. And I like to be away from the whole hustle bustle of the school. I'm not like, I like to talk to people, I realize, because I like to communicate and I like listening and hearing things as well. But sometimes people can be overwhelming. And as an anxious person, I now realize school was always very overwhelming for me. Especially the New York public school system, as I recall. Even Israel, kids were wild.